So these are the books that I'm planning on reading for the Monsterathon, a read-along in September. So, over-ambitious much, you think? Well, hey friends, Roger here. So I'm going to be doing the Monsterathon, which is a month-long competitive read-along. And there are 3 teams, actually. There's the Beasts, the Haunts, and the Conspiracies. Now, given that if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know that I love ghost stories. I signed up for the Haunts. So the goal of this readathon is to terrorize the most villagers. So instead of points, we terrorize. For example, for each page read, that counts as 1 villager terrorized. Each team also has 1 short story to read from the Book of Unnatural Creatures, I think the name of it is. It's curated by Neil Gaiman. And we get extra points if we read the other team's stories as well. And I'll probably end up reading the whole book because, hello, huge Neil Gaiman fan. There are also 10 reading challenges, which is the theme of this TBR. I need to get my paper. Nothing like being totally prepared to make a video. So, got my paper with the reading challenges. So the reading challenges are pretty much the theme of this TBR. And since this is a month-long readathon, these challenges are going to double as my September TBR, as is this video. Now, there are also supposedly 5 video challenges, one of which is the TBR, which is this video, and then a wrap-up at the end. Now, there's also going to be 3 additional videos throughout the month, but their topic is yet to be announced. We're going to have to wait on that. So, in keeping with the spirit of the readathon, I tried to choose all scary, thriller, paranormal books for my TBR, for the 10 challenges. So the first challenge is read a book with a classic horror monster. The book itself does not have to be horror. Now for that one, I went with Somethingstrange&deadly by Susan Dennard. I picked this up a while back. Now this is set in Philadelphia during the Victorian era and follows a woman named Eleanor Fitt, whose brother has gone missing, and her mother is desperately trying to marry her off to every man she can find. So then Eleanor reads in the newspaper that the dead have begun to walk. So zombies are the classic horror monster that fulfills this challenge. And I guess the zombie ends up delivering a letter to Eleanor in person from her brother. So she pretty much figures out that who's ever controlling the zombies, the undead army, has taken her brother as well. So Eleanor then takes it upon herself to find him. So sounds like a fun book. So the next challenge is What Big Eyes You Have. Read a book that is over 400 pages. So the goal here is to read a monster-sized book. So I chose Cemetery Road by Greg Iles. So this is a massive stonker of a book, coming in at around 600 pages, I think. And it's a suspenseful thriller that follows a man named Marshall McEwen, who's the publisher of a local newspaper. So the book begins with McEwen's good friend, Buck, being murdered, and McEwen is determined to solve the case. So he is met with, shall we say, strong opposition from a group of community power brokers nicknamed the Poker Club. They basically run the town and everyone in it, and they have a vested interest in keeping this case unsolved. So this is supposedly a gritty, twisty story with plenty of suspense. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been meaning to get to this for a while. So this is a good excuse for me to do so. Next challenge is read a book that could be classified under multiple genres. So for this one, I'm going with City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. So this I've seen classified as horror, as paranormal, as ghost, and most recently I saw it listed as spine-tingling fantasy. So this follows Cassidy Blake, whose parents are kind of inept ghost hunters. But Cassidy herself is the real deal. Ever since she almost drowned, she's had the ability to see ghosts. In fact, her best friend is a ghost. So Cassidy's talents eventually draw her into an epic fight through the worlds of the living and the dead in order to save herself. And if I'm not mistaken, the book takes place in Scotland. And this is also the first book in the series. The next book hasn't been released yet, as far as I know. So yeah, I've been wanting to read this for a while, so that's a good excuse to do so. So the next challenge is The Real Monsters. Read a book featuring monstrous humans. So for that, I went with The Choc Ban by C.J. Tudor. So I know this book starts out in 1986 and follows Eddie and his friends, a group of kids who spend their days biking around town. So they have kind of a secret code, which are Choc Ban, that they little messages that they leave for each other, messages that only they can understand. But then there's a mysterious Choc Ban drawing that leads them right to a dismembered body. So apparently somebody else has cracked their code. So then we fast forward to present day when Eddie is fully grown and thinks he's finally put the past behind him. But then he and his friends get a letter in the mail containing a single chalk figure, and soon thereafter, one of them turns up dead. So now they have to figure out the mystery before they are next on the list. So it sounds like a fun thriller. So the next book on my list is Unsightly. Read a comic graphic novel / manga featuring a monster. So for this one, I went with My Pathetic Vampire Life by Isakawa Rose. And she is the artist and the author. And this is translated by Amber Tamosadis. So the story follows Koide Manzaku, who became a vampire at the age of 16 and has had to repeat his first year of high school 133 times. Now, because he's a vampire, he's pretty much weak and grumpy throughout the day, so he's never won any popularity contests. And because of this, he's pretty much hated most of his freshman year experiences. All 133 of them. But somehow this year, his 134th year, he winds up being friends with a bunch of popular bros. And then things begin to change for our reluctant vampire. So sounds like fun. Whoops. My pile's falling over. So the next challenge, Angry Mob. Read a book recommended to you by more than one person. So for that one, I went with Jacobi, and this is written by William Ritter, right? William Ritter. So a friend recommended this series quite a while back because they know that I enjoy paranormal. And then also I saw Graham Quigley talking about this series on his channel. So I ended up getting all 4 books in the series as they were available for a really good price on Book Outlet a while back. And I've been wanting to start this for a while. So the series follows R.F. Jacobi, an investigator of the unexplained, who has the ability to see supernatural beings. So he takes on a new assistant, a woman named Abigail Rook, who has a gift for noticing ordinary but yet important details, making her ideal for the position. So for her first case, Abigail finds herself in the midst of a situation involving a serial killer who is on the loose. So now the police are convinced that it's just simply an ordinary person who's committing the murders. But Jacobi, on the other hand, is certain that it's a non-human creature whose existence the police deny, with the exception of a young detective named Charlie Kane. So this series was pitched as a Doctor Who meets Sherlock. So that caught my attention right away. And I'm guessing that this will be right up my alley. So like I said, I've been wanting to delve into this for a while, so I'll finally get my chance in September. So the next challenge is Sacrifice. Read a book that you've seen in an unhaul video. So for this one, I chose The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. So, I can't really remember whose unhaul video it was, which is funny because I really don't typically watch unhaul videos. I really don't enjoy them. I'd rather watch haul videos and their wrap-ups. But this particular book caught my attention when the person mentioned it because I had just purchased this book myself. So it follows a typical unremarkable high school kid named Mikey, I do believe. Yes, Mikey, whose main concerns are graduating, going to prom, and maybe asking a girl, Hannah, out before somebody goes and blows up the school again. So supposedly there's zombies, there's soul-eating ghosts, and other creatures that Mikey has to contend with, even though he is no hero and is certainly no chosen one. And that is pretty much all that I know about this. Oh, and there's also the fact that his best friend is worshipped by mountain lions. So, what? Sounds intriguing. And I hope that I like it more than the person who unhauled it did. So the next three challenges, challenges 8, 9, and 10, are team challenges and pertain to each of the teams, with each team being assigned a book. But that doesn't mean that we have to read that book. We can read any of the team books we want or read all of them, which is what I'm aiming for. Because the more pages you read, the more villagers you terrorize. And the more challenges you master, the more points you amass as well, or villagers you terrorize. So challenge 8 is for the beasts, and this is read a book featuring a monster with plant or animal traits. So for this one, I went with The Night Tiger by Youngsti Chu. So this was a Book of the Month Club selection a few months back, and I've been meaning to get to it. So the story takes place in the 1930s. It follows a girl named Ji Lin, who has always wanted to be a doctor, but because of the time period she's in, ended up choosing a more appropriate profession as a dressmaker. Though she does moonlight as a dance hall girl at night to help pay off her beloved mother's debts. So one night her dance partner leaves her with a gruesome souvenir, a severed finger. Don't you hate when that happens? So, convinced the finger is bad luck, Ji Lin enlists the help of her stepbrother to return it to its rightful owner. Now, the story also follows an 11-year-old Chinese houseboy named Ren, whose master dies and makes one last request of Ren, that Ren find the severed finger that he lost years ago and reunite it with his body. Ren has 49 days, or else the master's soul will roam the earth, unable to rest in peace. So you may be wondering, okay, Roger, where's the animal that you talked about? Well, as it turns out, there's a prowling tiger that is stalking the town, and there's this old Chinese superstition about men who turn into tigers. So I'm not sure if that's the case here, but I'm curious. So anyway, Ren and Ji Lin's paths intertwine, and all manner of drama ensues. So yes, the Night Tiger. So challenge number 9, we're nearing the end. This is for the Haunts, which is my group. Read a book featuring a monster that is dead or undead. Okay, so for that one, I went with The Rattled Bones, which is a ghost story by S.M. Parker. So the ghost is the monster in this story. And it follows a young woman named Rila Bray, who after the sudden death of her father, she discovers that the veil between the living and the dead is beginning to blur for her. She begins to be haunted by a dead girl on a nearby island, an island that's supposedly uninhabited. So the ghost's song, which she hears, feels somehow familiar to her and lures Rila to the shores of the island. So then Rila meets an archaeology student named Sam, who, as it turns out, is tasked with excavating the very island on which the ghostly girl has appeared. So Sam and Rila begin to uncover the island's secrets, and as Rita's visions increase, they begin to unearth a tragedy that is somehow connected with Rita's past. So, sounds like fun. And last but not least, this is for the Conspiracies group, and it is to read a book featuring an alien, robot, or sci-fi based creature. So for that, I'm going with Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Okay, so maybe this is cheating. I'm not really sure if there's really a monster creature in this one, but I just really want to read this book. But there is supposedly an unbeatable foe, so I'm going to make a stretch here and call this foe a creature. Maybe I could go with a monstrous technology, or compare the technology to a wild creature. So the story follows a physics professor named Jason Dressen who is kidnapped at gunpoint. So his abductor injects him with some sort of unknown drug, and Jason loses consciousness. So when Jason awakes, he finds that he's in a lab strapped to a gurney with a stranger standing over him, and the stranger says, "Welcome back." So Jason soon learns that in this world, the one in which he's just woken up, his house is not his house, his wife is not his wife, and his son has never been born. Oh, and someone is hunting him as well. So I've already mentioned that I read and love the book Recursion by the same author, and I've been looking forward to reading more of his work, so I can't wait to delve into Dark Matter. So that is it for the Monsterathon / September TBR. And I will put a link to all the Monsterathon information below, including the original announcement videos and how to partake in this if you are interested. So that about does it for this video. As always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. And if you like this video, I really appreciate if you click the like button below, as it helps me and my channel out. And that'll do it. I will talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.